How you doing? And your name is Dao, I believe?
I'm a Buddhist monk. My name is Dao Young.
Dao Young. And how long have you been coming to this Occupy Tucson?
Well, I've been stopping by since it started about the 9th of October. And I'm just kind of observing. Part of the reason that I'm here is that the Buddha taught that some of the problems in this life are the experiences of suffering, and a lot of the experience of suffering comes about as a result of cravings and desires, attachments, and a lot of people have begun to recognize that that's what the problem is.
Now, we talked about attachments yesterday, and when we talked about attachments, I kind of said, well, I think attachments, some of them are definitely, needed, such as your fingers on your hand.
Well, that's true, and some desires are beneficial. I desire to overcome my suffering. And so there's a duality there. The issue is that a lot of people are dissatisfied, and it's not just with the current state of affairs, but in their daily life. And one needs to develop an understanding, or a deeper understanding, as to what the causes are. And then once they've identified the cause, to take the steps to overcome them. And we have ill speech, anger, frustrations, and we need to look at the source of those and handle those.
In saying that, what is our deepest frustration right now as a collective in this community, not only in the community that's local, but the community worldwide? What would be our deepest frustration? What would you think is our deepest frustration right now?
Well, a lot of it is the greed, and it's permeated into a great many societies around the world. And it's also coupled with fear. In this instance, the finger is being pointed at Wall Street as a cause for our suffering, when Wall Street is only the result of greed. And we as individuals have not recognized that by doing things in a greedy method or manner, we've given rise to this.
And in saying that, I mean, what I think people are saying too, I mean, we could even more or less define it right now, or they're trying to define it, and they're calling not Wall Street, but Wall Street the 1%. But I think that even goes beyond just Wall Street. I think it goes to our government institutions and, these people that are controlling, the 1% of the power and with the wealth. I think that's more where this is leading, and I'm looking at it and saying, how do we cut off that 1% from which is our common humanity, So, I mean, the greed that is in the 1%, you could say the greed is in the 99% too, but just in a different form. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. The greed is in the 100%.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
It starts with the individual, basically. We want things to be this way and not that way.
Well, in the ought to be, then, I'll give you the last word here. And in the ought to be, on how things ought to be, collectively, what do you think it ought to be?
Well, it ought to be an occupation in the mind of wisdom and compassion.
Thank you.